Sorted. Welcome, Wargamers. Welcome, everybody. We have today with us James Otero from Siege Studios. So this is going to be a bit of a different one. It's going to be an interview. Normally we do our Wednesday and Friday chats, but this is a nice special interview with James, and we're lucky enough to have him on board. So we've got a bunch of questions that we're going to go through. We're going to go into the background of James himself as well. And if any of you have got questions for James as well during the chat, just pop them down in the box and we'll go through them as and when we can as well in between, because I'm sure James is happy to answer as many questions as he can. Okay, we'll just quickly go down the chat. See, we've got Adrian, John Snater, Auric Loveguard, Tedious Payload, Mike's joining us as well. What else? Sean Dewitt, Stephen Leggett, Frost and Fists, Dark Elf Dave. Right, we've got a bunch of people, so we'll go through that chat in a little bit. We're going to start off then. So, James, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into commission painting?
Right, okay. Well, my endeavour into painting and modelling all started when I was about 9 years old. My nan inadvertently took me into a charity shop and I found a bag of old 40k stuff, and it went from there really. But painting wise, I've always sort of painted, and when I was very artistic when I was in school, so I'd done lots of art and painting. I was always painting. Like, my mum used to buy me like long canvases of old sort of like blank wallpaper, and I used to be in the back garden painting away. So I've always sort of enjoyed painting, and it's been something I've always done. As I progressed through sort of doing 40k, back to sort of second edition, third edition, as the editions progressed, I obviously started to paint better through practice. And it was only really when I was like in sort of secondary school, sort of sixth form kind of thing, that I was painting, and friends would say, "Oh, can you paint this for me?" They give me a couple of notes or whatever, and I'd do. So it started from there really, and that's kind of my background into sort of commission painting. I kind of fell into it just through sort of painting a lot when I was younger, and then as I progressed and as I obviously got older, I started painting more and more and more, and obviously getting more armies and things like that, and then I kind of found out of a couple of guys that were doing some sort of painting all together, and sort of set up a company, and they asked me obviously to sort of freelance for them. So I started freelancing, and I actually had a couple of instances where I saw things that I wasn't, if I was in a client's perspective, I wouldn't be very happy with, in the sense of just sort of like the communication, or the specifications that I had to follow. There was a lot of tennis match kind of like conversation, and I wanted it to be better, and Siege kind of came from that. I've always been sort of like very procedure driven, and sort of wanted things to be professional, and that's really sort of where I at that juncture decided to sort of go my own way and do something that's going to sort of be more tangible, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of Siege came from there really, and it just grew from there really. That's kind of how it's happened. But that's my entry into sort of commission painting.
So a very painting-driven background, and then setting up a professional business after that.
It kind of just snowballed really. I was painting at home and stuff like that in a dingy old flat in a quiet little town, and it just went from there. And like I said, it's a really good growth that it's had, and we've all worked hard as a team to get it to where it is today. But yeah, it's been a really good journey so far.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about Siege Studios for anybody who doesn't know what Siege Studios is? What is it?
Siege is a completely bespoke premium painting service, and what I mean by that is you can literally tailor your commission to the exact requirements that you want. The way that our specifications are, and the way that our structure is when it comes to sort of like quoting for commissions, it's completely broken down through every facet of the hobby, if that makes sense. So from building, cleaning, sculpting, freehand, obviously the painting, we have various levels, things down to obviously different basing levels. So everything is completely tailored to what you want as a client, for example. I'll just give you an example. We've got a client that's asked us to do he's quite a funny client, because he will literally ask us to do the most crazy projects, and Ben, one of my guys, is working on a really cool project. It's actually like a bacon themed Space Marine army. Sounds really crazy. Honestly, we've got a couple of videos up on our YouTube channel of several aspects of this commission and this army, but that kind of gives you a good example. You can literally tailor your army exactly to what you want, through us. We are a completely bespoke service, and we offer our basic level is an above tabletop level all the way up to a competition level of painting, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All the guys have a lot of experience. We're talking, on average 7 to 10 to 12 years experience each of painting, all at high level and competition level. So they're more than capable of executing what you want on a commission, if that makes sense. And that's what we do. And then there's other things that we do as well. Like, for example, we do offer, obviously we've got the commission part of the business, but we do offer, tuition as well. And we have courses which we run nationally in different sort of venues like Element Games, War Games, Bristol Independent Gaming. You've got I Buy War Games in Woking. So there's Wayland Games as well. So there's a whole network of venues which we use to offer tuition, and they're techniques which we use as well, on commissions and in our own hobby, that we give back to the community, obviously in a paid tuition course, but it's a very, very much technique driven course. So it's not bring a model, paint it over a weekend, because people work at different sort of speeds and things like that. It's a very much show, try and execute sort of every facet of the course, and that's something that we pride ourselves on as well. So that's another thing we offer.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, obviously there are a lot of people offering commission services, but you've got a very professional setup. You've got a lot of experienced painters working for you, and it isn't just that. You've got the lessons and all of those shows on as well. I mean, I'm just going to double check because there's a lot of them coming up as well. It's not like there's one a year. You've got 3 in June here, 3 in July, another one in August, another one in September. I can put the links to this in the description after the show, so if anybody is interested. Is it on your website as well?
Yeah, the best place to check things is our Facebook posts quite a lot of different sort of things, but we always, you'll always find within the first 3 or 4 posts on our Facebook, there's always a link to the store, or to the ticket site, should I say. And on our Instagram as well, we post links, or not links, we post photos and the sort of link. But if you want to find the ticket store, it's literally just www.siegestudios.bigcartel.com. If you just search Siege Studios Big Cartel, you'll find it, and all the courses that we offer are just located on there, so it's very easy to find.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think the other thing was, it was just the bespoke service more than anything. We were chatting just before, like how we're going to go into the different levels, I think, although you've probably answered it, but maybe a bit more detail. But it isn't just like you've got your bronze, silver, gold, or whatever. It's literally, if you want something done, you can organise it and you can do it. And the prices vary depending on what that client wants, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like you can literally swap around sort of the painting level, basing level. You can bolt on freehand onto that, or you can bolt on some sculpting. Say, for example, you wanted all your bear heads to have hair, for example. It's completely tailored to what you want. So if you wanted a bacon themed army, we can do that for you. We've got a client who's doing a project at the moment, which is it's an orc army, but it's painted and flavoured like a demon army. So it's all red skin and black armour and bronze. I assume he plays sort of demons as well as chaos and obviously orcs. But so it gives you a bit of an idea. You can literally tailor your commission to whatever you want, but obviously with that in mind, it's chargeable based on obviously the things that you bolt onto your commission, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. We've got a few more people in the chat. I think writer Sophie Stevens has just got here and heard bacon themed Space Marines. I don't know if that's going to keep him staying or going. If you want bacon Space Marines, I'm interested to see what they are. I'm going to have to. I haven't seen that video.
Honestly, I'll give you the link to one of the videos. It's a very, very funny commission in a good way, because it's someone taking a very sort of it has to be painted in this chapter or whatever, blah blah blah. It's very strict, and it's just thrown a really cool, completely out there sort of scheme to it, and it's really funny. Like Ben, the artist that executed it, has done some really funny things. Like the purity seals are actually rashers of bacon as well. So it's just, honestly, it's mad. It's absolutely mad, honestly. But it's like I said, that is the beauty of our service, is that you can do things like that. We're not just a sort of a highlight, a wash, undercut. We're not that kind of service. We literally will do everything that you can physically want on the model, but obviously it's chargeable. Yeah,
so whatever your imagination is, Siege Studios can create it. That's cool. What else have we got in the chat? We've got a lot of people talking about 8th edition again. We'll carry on with 8th edition tomorrow, I think, unless there's a question you want to ask James about 8th edition, maybe. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. What else have we got? Auric makes sense, easy to paint too. bit different from orcs. How are you finding the newer models? Actually, just out of the rest of the questions, how are you finding the newer models from Games Workshop?
Newer models, yeah, they're really, really good. Like GW sculpting over the years has always been ahead of the game. You know, that they produce some of the best original first plastics in second, third edition, so on and so forth. I remember when the new Tactical Squad came out in third edition, it was like, you know, it was amazing. But the new models, the quality of the sculpts is phenomenal. Like, it makes painting an absolute pleasure. There are some models that have so much detail on them that you really do need to invest a lot of time into them, because, you know, doing a basic job on them just doesn't justify the quality that's on the sculpt, if that makes sense. And because there's so much detail. But in summary, like, all the new models that are coming out, like for example the new Primaris Marines, all the guys and myself included, we're like super stoked for it, because they literally, the quality of everything that's coming out is just literally phenomenal. I'm working on 2 Ironman models at the moment, and it's an absolute pleasure, you know, absolute pleasure to work on. The detail is perfect. You know, there's hardly any mold lines or sort of spruce bird because of the design of the sprue. It's just the quality that's coming out of there at the moment is exceptional.
And how much of a impact has 8th edition and what is coming impacted on your business in terms of like Primaris Marines since they've been announced? Have you had any contact about future business projects?
We've had a few people already ask us, you know, to sort of like for quotes, you know, things like that, and it's like, well, the starter box hasn't even been released. We don't know the details, so we can't you know, we can't quote them yet. But you know, I assume as soon as the details are released, that you know, touch wood, fingers crossed, obviously we'll have a lot of inquiries for it. But you know, I know that all the guys and myself are very, very, you know, very, very excited for 8th edition. You know, a lot of them tend to play 30k because it is, you know, the 30k is a really cool environment. But I think the way that the rule set is going and everything that's happening with the game and things that have been doing, you know, it's going to make every army, it's going to completely balance everything for all players. Tyranids, orcs, a lot of factions that have been overlooked are going to get that balance in, and it's going to make it a very, very competitive, more strategic game. So I'm massively in favour for it. It's only going to do good things for the community and for the industry. And I know that a lot of my guys, you know, they're all looking to return to 40k after a period of time because of the new rule set, because there used to be so many books and so many different formations and so many different, you know, army lists and everything. It got a bit much, you know, so this whole sort of new sort of rule set and everything that's happening is really going to go down well, I think. You know, it's really going to sort of do good things for the game. So,
okay, awesome. We've got quite a lot of questions coming in. I think we'll go through the chat and then we'll carry on with the ones that I've got written down. Because
yeah, sure, that's fine.
One thing about these live chats is it's great just to get everybody else's questions on here.
Yeah,
so what have we got? Ryan Benfield's asking about a specific price. So he's asking about a level and how many. What I would say is we've got a question later on, is what is the best way to contact Siege Studios in terms of commissions. So we'll go through that later on, Ryan.
Okay.
And then you can always send James your, what you want to do, basically. He can let you know. Oric Lovegod, James, what is your website and what is your personal best? Personal best as in... elaborate a little bit, Love God, on that. Personal best as in what? And then do you ship worldwide, and how is working with clients challenging through email? So there's quite a few questions there. Let's start with the website.
Start with the website. So our website is very, very simple. It's just www.siegestudios.co.uk. Okay. Siege is a bit of a funny word. It's S-I-E-G-E. I've had people pronounce it or spell it different ways, but yeah, it's just www.siegestudios.co.uk.
And let's do you ship worldwide?
Yes, we do. All of our, absolutely every single one of our parcels is sent Royal Mail first class signed for, and that's including insurance as well. We will not send out a parcel second class, and every single client gets a trackable an email once they've completed obviously the purchase of the commission at the end. What happens is then they get an email with a tracking number and a photographic proof of the parcel, so they can see the parcel and they can log in and track the parcel. So we would never ever send something out by a lesser service. Obviously the postage does cost a little bit more, but it gives you that security of knowledge that you're going to be able to track your parcel from leaving us to getting to you.
Okay, awesome. He has said, however I meant in painting. So what is your personal best in painting? That could be anything.
My personal best in painting, as the business has grown, I'm not going to lie, it has affected my hobby time, because I just obviously run the business, and you know I do like to competition paint myself. But last year, my personal best is that I painted a Blood Angel Sanguinary Priest. It's probably one of my favourite models I've ever made and painted. And I really pushed myself on it because I wanted, for me, ever since I was a little kid, I've loved heavy metal. I've loved Golden Demon. I've loved, that level of painting and that sort of, the amount of detail that goes into those models. And I've always tried to sort of improve my painting to that point. So last year was the first time I ever entered Golden Demon, and I'd done a single figure, which obviously is a Sanguinary Priest. And it was I think it was GD Space Marines that I entered it, and I managed to get a finalist within single figure, which is probably one of the hardest categories. So for me, as a first entry into sort of that level of painting, I was very happy with that. It's just unfortunate that with the growth of the business, my time on the tools, so to speak, isn't that much on my own personal stuff anymore. You'll probably laugh, but my Blood Angel army, Tris, who's like my sort of co-guy that works for me and runs the business, he's always joked and sort of said, when are you going to get your Blood Angels done? When are you going to get your Blood Angels done? And it's only been this year that I've actually managed to get most of it done. The Assault Marines still need edge highlighting, but other than that, they're pretty much there. But it's just I don't get as much time to do my own stuff. But next year, I aim to sort of enter Golden Demon a few more times. I've got a couple of things lined up for that, but that last year was probably, it's the first rung on the ladder to where I've always dreamed of getting as a painter, if that makes sense.
Well, the good thing is you're in a perfect position to get other people to paint your models for you. So if you don't have the time, you definitely have the contacts to get it done. And it's not obviously you do the painting, but we'll go. One of the questions in a minute is who is part of the team, so we'll go on to that in a second, because there's a lot of very talented artists in Siege Studios. So I think the next question is we'll skip that last bit. Auric Lovegod, how is working clients challenging through email? How do you find that?
It's very much if you've ever watched Wimbledon, it's very much like that. Clients vary, when you're dealing with people, some people are very, very, straight to the point, they know exactly what they want, bang, 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 whereas other people, it is very much, I don't want people thinking that we're just here to just take what you want and there's no sort of personal side to it, because there is. Every project for us is a passion, because we want to make sure that we execute it to the requirements and to everything that the client wants. So some conversations are very straightforward, and it's very, very easy to sort of ascertain what that client wants. They fill out the spec sheet for us, we review it and sign it off straight away. Some clients, they will really, really not go into a lot of detail, and we do need to sort of have a to and fro conversation to really make sure that we're doing what they want. The worst thing that I could possibly think happening would be is that they don't put something in the spec sheet, or they don't tell us something, and then when they get the commission, there is that, but it hasn't got that. I would much rather have a much longer, in-depth conversation. I'd rather have a spec sheet that's like 4, 5, 6 pages long, knowing exactly what you want as a client, than sort of very brief and concise. We've got a very good client from Japan, and he literally sends us bullet-pointed per squad, loadout, paint scheme, everything, and it's perfect. And I'd much rather have that than a couple of lines. It makes our job so much easier.
I think so much easier. That's definitely the way I would go if I was getting an army commissioned. There'd be a spreadsheet to go alongside it, and it would be this is all of the names for the guys as well. Maybe we can put them on the side.
Exactly it. Yeah, it's 10 times better when you get that. But it's like I said, it is what it is. Everyone's different, so as long as we get to the destination and get what they want, that's all that matters.
Awesome. Mike's asked, how do you deal with the pressure of painting someone else's models?
Other people's models. The way you got to look at it is commission painting isn't for everyone, because everyone has hobby, everyone has things that they love. For example, you have to when it comes to approaching another person's model, forget all of your personal opinions about the faction or the color scheme or anything like that. You have to simply take the recipe or the spec sheet or whatever it is that the client has said to you and work to that, and you have to be passionate about it. And it's more about being passionate about painting than passionate about the project, as that sounds. It's about pushing yourself on everything that you do, on every model that you do, whether it's yours or a client's, so that from our perspective, for the service and quality that we offer, we're always sort of hitting the expectations of that client, if that makes sense. So it's just be passionate about whatever it is you paint. Always push yourself to do better on whatever you paint, whether it's yours, your friends, or someone that's paying you money for it. You want that wow factor when they receive it.
Yeah, so that's awesome. You got another one? We've got loads of questions. We're going to have to.
That's cool.
We'll stop on the yeah, we'll switch over to some that I've got in a minute. So Dark Elf Dave has asked, do Siege Studio help with minor conversions? And
yeah, we do. Again, with our service, it is completely bespoke. So we have had people send us, big Forge World kits that they really don't want to put together, and we'll just do that. We've converted. We don't, like, for example, if you go on our YouTube, there's a couple of conversion videos of sort of like Iron Fathers on Thunderwolves that we've done. That we will take on different facets of different projects. It's not, as a commission painting studio, we are obviously painters, and that's what we do. But converting, as a kid, I've still got the bits box from when I was a kid. I've still got a box that's literally got parts in it from second edition, because converting is as much a part of the hobby as the painting or sculpting or anything. So yeah, in summary, we will take on converting, building and cleaning, and all different facets of the job. It's not a problem at all.
Yeah, I think that's what you were saying in the beginning. It's a bespoke business. Whatever you want, Siege Studios can do it.
Yeah.
We'll do one more question before we go on to the rest. So this is from John Snater. Oh no, I think you've covered that. How does James find painting his own armies after doing customers all day long? I think your problem is the time after everything else.
Yeah.
So we'll go on to Adrian's. James, what do you do when you have an army painted and you don't get paid? What's the steps? I am in that situation, not sure what to do.
Right. Okay. That's the thing. I mean, as a business, the most important thing in life, in my personal opinion, is time. Money, as we spoke before, obviously we went live, money is secondary. And that sounds crazy, but if Siege fell through tomorrow, if I was working in a 9-to-5 job and lost that job, I could go out and get another job. I would work my backside off to find another job. It's the time that you will never get back that is a commodity, which is important. So when you invest a lot of time into working on someone's project, you have to safeguard the time that you've invested doing that for them. So if you're doing projects for friends or whatever, normally, the friend will not muck you around. But if you're doing it for private clients, what I would recommend and what I'd suggest to you is always take 50% upfront, first of all, always, and then 50% upon completion. And you don't release the models to that client until that final 50% is paid. It sounds silly, but it's not fair on you as a painter when you've invested the time to not get paid to do that. So what I would suggest to you is basically send them an email, very polite, be professional, don't start swearing or anything like that, just be professional about it, and just state, look, I've invested time which I won't get back into your models. I'm expecting payment for that time. And give them a decent sort of window. If they haven't replied to you or had the courtesy or decency to reply to you within that time frame, then as a business, and if you are running it as a business rather than just a hobby, you technically should be able to then do whatever you want with the models to recoup the loss of money. And that's the way I see it. But give them fair warning. Make sure it's in written format so that they've got communication, so that if anything does go down the route of legal format, you then have covered yourself completely. It's all about safeguarding your investment of time. If you make sure that time is the most important thing, you can't go wrong. And that's really sort of the way to be.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. We'll save that question in the ones afterwards. Surreal's put, you changed, I don't like change. I don't know what you mean by that, Surreal. What has changed? Oh, he's on about the layout. It's because we put the chat down the right-hand side.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
I imagine it's that. That's the only thing we've changed. Other than I haven't even had a shave, so that's not changed.
No.
Okay, let's get back to the other question. So who else is part of the team in Siege Studios?
Okay, well, we've got a team at the moment. We've got a team of 15, and it varies from people that have worked as commission painters for a very long time, and it varies from sort of people that are wanting extra sort of like money every month, if that makes sense. For us as a business, taking on board people, we do advertise, as some of you may or may not have seen on our Instagram and our social media, for sort of artists when the business grows. Now we will take on people that are looking for a couple of extra hours a week, to work around their hobby. And we do also facilitate artists that work full-time commission painting, and within the business. All of the artists that work for Siege are freelance, and the reason for that is just because it's a better format. As a business grows, PAYE doesn't really sort of work, and it also breeds complacency, which for commission painting is very, very sort of, it's a killer basically. But within the team, we've got 15 artists. All of them been painting for an average between 7 to 12 years each, and I can name by names we've had in the past. We've had people like the likes of Andy Wardle who have painted for the business, Richard Marlowe, who are all multiple Golden Demon winners, as I'm sure you may well know by their names. I've got a very, very good selection of up and coming artists that are very, 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 very proficient in what they do, and within the business, all of my painters and all the painters that work for Siege are of a high quality sort of competition level and are progressing to sort of enter and win Golden Demon, and that's really sort of the background on the artists and the team that we have here at Siege.
Yeah, so very high quality, lots and lots of winners, and I think that's one thing where you get the weekends, the tutoring and stuff. That's definitely worth going to just to get that quality experience. Knowledge.
I mean, if you want me to, I can give you a bit of information just about what the course is. I know we mentioned the dates and things, but it is a tuition course, a technique tuition course. It's not bring a model and paint it across the weekend. There are courses that are very, very good that do that. Like I said, Andy does a course that's like that, and there are a couple of others that do similar courses. But from my perspective and from my background on painting, a toolkit of techniques is what makes you a better painter. If you learn those techniques, as you increase in the ability of executing them, you will always become a better painter. So our courses teach you, it's a show and tell environment. So we fully demo the technique. You then get a very ample amount of time to then try and execute it. And we've had people come on the course who have said, "Oh, I'm not a good painter," and they've executed a blended power weapon better than someone that's been doing it 2-3 times before. It's very much a positive painting environment where you are shown techniques to improve your painting and go away and instantaneously have a better ability than when you came to the course, and that's really what it is.
So,
in summary,
what sort of things, if you were thinking about going on these courses, what would you need to take with you, and what would you not need to worry about?
Okay, well, for a start, you don't need to bring any models or anything like that. We provide every section of the course, the power weapons, the armor panels, the weathering, the blending, the faces, all those different things. You turn up and on your desk you've got sample pieces from all the different sections. So you literally just need to bring your paints, your paint brushes. It's not an airbrush course, but there is an airbrush section of the course. So when we on day one, we do cover airbrushing. We do cover how to use an airbrush and blah blah blah. If you have an airbrush and a compressor and all the associated stuff to go with it, we do recommend bringing it with you, because we have got one that we demo with, which people can freely and happily use. But obviously, if we've got decent sized numbers on the course, there ends up being a bit of a way to use it, if that makes sense. So if you've got one, do bring it along, bring all the bits and bobs you need, but you don't need any models or anything like that. You can, if you like, bring models from your hobby and from your collection, because on the second day, what we do is we've got an hour and a half at the end on the second day, where it's not where we put our feet up and just let you crack on. It's an open painting session, and what I mean by that is, say for example, you said, what, I've always wanted to know how to do heat bloom on weapons. Can you show me how to do it? And one of the artistic instructors will then sit with you and give you a one-on-one. So there is a section of the course at the end on Sunday that you can literally pick our brains for techniques that maybe we haven't covered that are a bit more advanced. And if you want to learn those and try and learn those in that time period, you can do it. And it's a lot of the students that have come on the course, that section is invaluable, because they go away with their own personal little thing they didn't think they were going to get from that course, if that makes sense.
Okay, brilliant stuff. What we got next? So how long have you been actually running as a business?
Since I think we're in our 4th year. The company was incorporated in August 2014, so but I was running it for about 6 to 9 months before that. So it's probably we're in our 4th year, so I'll probably say it's about just under 4 years, really. I'd say that we've been running as a business.
And it took off fairly early as well, didn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah. We basically work with a number of different YouTube channels, and very early on, back in the day, Mini Wargaming, Matt and Dave, they done like a Mini Wargaming Space Marine Army, and we basically contacted, we contacted, have a bit of communication with them, and ended up, taking on board a decent part of the army, and we executed it for them, and obviously sent it back. And Matt and Dave kindly done a decent video before they had their sort of painter partner program that they operate now, but they basically done a video showcasing the work which we done, and it massively sort of springboarded the business because of obviously the quality that we painted the models to for them, and yeah, kind of the rest is history. It just grew from there, and I took people on based obviously on the growth of the business because I couldn't physically do it all, and just went from there really.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant stuff. And you're talking about the level as well. Obviously, you've got your bespoke, custom setup for every single client, but you do have painting levels. So what levels do you have as brackets?
Right, okay. So we have 4 levels at the studio, and they are all above tabletop. And the reason for that is because we want our clients to be able to put down their models on the tabletop and feel proud of what they've invested time and money into. So we have our bronze level, which is above tabletop. All things are picked out like lenses, gems. Our building and clean service is very thorough. Weapons are drilled. The mold lines, spruce burrs, all removed. So you have a very pristine model. And then moving up, we have our silver level, which is the next level up. The level painting levels generally, it's more investment of time, things like highlighting, contrast, and picking up details. And really, as you increase in level up to, say, for example, platinum, which is our competition high-end level, you're just increasing the amount of highlights, increasing the contrast, bringing that model more to life, and really making sure that every detail firmly stands out on that model and doesn't distract the eye from anything else, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But we, as I said, we have bronze, which is our entry above tabletop level, silver, which is like a higher level, which is obviously more sort of like you can put a bronze level in the cabinet and display it, and it'd be perfectly fine. And that's the quality that we offer at our entry level. And then it goes silver, gold, and platinum is our competition, highly bespoke. It's perfect for characters. Don't really do too many squads or tanks and things like that. It's more for your HQ, for something that you really want to put a lot of time and money into to make them look really good. And that's really sort of what platinum is. But generally speaking, a lot of clients will do troops at sort of bronze and silver, and characters we only do them from a silver level up to a platinum level. A bronze level, you wouldn't really want your captain to be painted the same as your rank and file, so we cap characters from silver to platinum just because of the amount of time that's actually invested within that model by one of the artists.
Have you had anybody who has wanted every single model of the army to be at the higher tier?
We had someone recently that's booked in the Space Marine Get Started box, all at platinum. So and to be perfectly honest, it's an amazing commission to have. It's a great thing to work on because he's not a gamer, but he wants it at a very high end level just to display. So it's a pleasure to work on it and be able to sort of paint a small force like a dreadnought, tac squad, and captain to that level. But yeah, as a business owner, obviously it's very good, but from my perspective, it depends on what you want really. If you want to game with it, it's up to you. If you want that high level for gaming, then perfect. It's really good. But all of our levels are above tabletop standard. So whatever you take out from us, it's going to be very good in the cabinet or on the table for you.
Okay, brilliant stuff. So we're on to the next question now, which is what somebody was asking before. How I think it was Ryan asking how to pretty much, he wanted to know the rough price of something. But how would anybody interested in having a commission from you get in touch with you? What is the best way?
Okay, the best thing, we on our website we have a contact form, and it's really easy, black and white, straight to the point. Go on there and just select all the options that you want. So on our website, in the info section, there's a description of the levels for painting, so it has all the different aspects of information. So please do read that before you obviously fill in the contact form. The single biggest thing for anyone obviously approaching the business is please put as much detail as possible. And what I mean by that is, don't just say, oh, I want a tactical squad painted to bronze. Be more specific and say that I'd like you guys to supply the tactical squad. I'd like you guys to build and clean it, paint it, base it, and I'd also like transfers on all the models, for example. There are some drop-down boxes on the contact form that you can fill in, or select, should I say, and just please do read through and make the selections correctly, because that information, it makes the whole process so much quicker. The message section of the contact form is really for you to go into detail about numbers. I've got a captain, 2 tactical squads, a dreadnought, whatever the case may be. All the drop-down boxes determine the levels, and also if we're supplying or if we're building and cleaning, whatever the case may be. And fill that in thoroughly, put the numbers of figures and also other things like transfers, sculpting, converting, freehand, anything like that in the message section. Send that off to us. We have a very quick turnaround in the sense of emails. We basically will get back to you in a maximum time of 24 hours. Normally it's within sort of an hour. You'll get an email back. It covers everything about our service and how to work with us. And then we'll come back to you, get the ball rolling, get a fully broken down quote that covers everything you've asked for. There's no grey areas. It's very black and white, and you can obviously decide yes or no obviously from that, if that makes sense.
Okay, awesome. And we'll put the links for everything down below afterwards, because you've got your Instagram page, which is, I think, the most popular wargaming related Instagram page. So we'll put that down below.
It's absolutely gone mad. Honestly, it's just snowballed. It's great. You know, Instagram is one of our favourite sort of social medias. But for us, it's like an online gallery. You know, a lot of you know, we've got obviously a gallery on our website, but for live feed, you can pretty much, you know, the good thing about our service and also our social media for the business is that as your commission is going through the studio, you can literally go onto our Instagram and watch your commission being done, you know, and we don't generally get a lot of people go, oh, what's going on with my commission, because they can literally physically watch it happen on the Instagram live, so to speak. So anywhere you are with a mobile, with the internet, you can see your commission and keep in touch with the progress of it, basically.
Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things, questions I was going to ask is, what are the best ways to see the work from you? And I think that is pretty much it, really. The Instagram, the Facebook page, all of which we'll put links down below. But we're fairly new to Instagram ourselves, and I only subscribed to you, I think, last week or the week before, because we've not been using Instagram, and every single day there's like 4, 5 or 6 pictures going up, and it's all top quality stuff. So it's great just to see them popping up on a daily basis or on an hourly basis at some points.
Yeah, I was to say, yeah, it's because we like the thing is, you know, it's good to sort of put new content up frequently, you know, and hopefully, you know, maintain the quality throughout, because in that way you can literally, you know, as I said, you watch a project go from start to finish. We won't do every step, so I won't take a picture of the box of the models and then built in it, you know. But it's when the first couple of layers and things are on there, and it's really sort of coming to life. That's when the first pictures tend to go up. So you really get that wow factor when you see your commission. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I've got one more question, and then there's a lot in the chat that we're going to go through. There's a lot of people joining as well, so I'll go through and read everybody out, and we'll get through as many of these questions as quickly as possible. It was meant to be a fairly short one. I didn't want to keep you for too long, but there's so much information. It's awesome. So
okay.
The last one from me is, how long do projects normally take? So obviously they're going to be on a variation depending on the size of the project, but how long would the average project take for you to turn it around?
Well, again, because it's so bespoke, it really varies. But to give you a bit of an idea, if you sent in a tactical squad, we normally estimate between sort of 2 to 4 weeks, and that sounds quite a lot. But the reason why is, as a business, we are not, you know, a company that you approach to get a tournament army done in a month. You know, that's not how we work. Because we are a quality service and because we are a premium service, we invest the important thing, which is time into your models. I would much rather spend a decent amount of time on your models, executing them to a very high standard, so that you're happy with them, you know, from the moment you get them out of the box, okay, rather than sort of like spending a week or 2 on models, rushing them through. We don't do that. It is all about the quality and the investment of time. You are paying good money for a good service that gives you a good product. It's as simple as that. But yeah, as I said, tactical squad between 2 to 4 weeks, depending on sort of like the bolt-on. So we're talking, you know, building and cleaning, freehand transfers, you know, if there's any sculpting, all those kind of things. It totally varies on sort of like what you want as a client. You know, a character, for example, at our silver level, normally we say around about sort of 2 to 3 weeks maximum. So it gives you a bit of an idea.
I've just read a comment from Dave Dog saying, I can just imagine rows and rows of gnomes sat on wooden benches painting late into the night.
Yeah.
Just the 15 commission painters working away.
We haven't got that many yet, but you know, when that day comes, you know, I might invest in some red hats, and I'm only kidding. But no, yeah, it's just saying. No, but no, it totally varies. You know, at the end of the day, because we are so bespoke, it just depends totally on what you want as a client, you know, and the time frame either goes longer or shorter depending on that.
Okay, awesome. Right, we'll do some quick fire. We're going to go through this chat, and we're going to try and get as many of these questions done as possible.
Best.
This is going to be a test to your answering. So, Tedious Payload has said, are you looking forward to more variety in commissions and not just Inari, Tau or drop pods?
Yeah. I was to say with 7th edition, you know, there was the sort of like the bombardment of Skyhammer, you know, Annihilation Force inquiries, and you know, it happens with the hobby changing and with things happening, with new factions, you know, becoming more popular or powerful, whatever. You do have to follow the trend. Unfortunately, it is the nature of the game and the nature of the business. But you know, you do get those armies, and you just have to consistently work to them, and you end up, you know, knowing exactly. You see the same army list come in painted in a different chapter or painted in a different, craft world, for example. But yeah, no, 8th edition is going to change that, and we're all extremely positive for it, because it's just going to completely level the playing field. All the armies are in balance. Close combat's massive now, so as a Blood Angel player, I'm over the moon. And yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. We're really looking forward to it.
Awesome. I think one's just moved down. No, we haven't. Crazy Hippo said, "Can you stop having the tutorial weekends at the same time as ones I already have things organised, please?" So,
sorry.
I noticed they are weekends. Have you thought about doing any weekday ones, or have you done weekdays in the past?
Do you know what? That's something we haven't done. We haven't done weekdays, and I think the reason why I do weekends is when we were originally designing the course and decided, we can do weekdays or weekends. At that point, it was where I was before I was full time running the business. So weekends obviously work perfect for me. But no, it's not something that we're sort of adverse to. It's something that I'll speak to obviously the guys that run the courses with me, and we'll see maybe if we can do some weekday ones. It just rule of thumb. I know a lot of people obviously work weekends, but at the same time, there's a lot of demographic that work 9 to 5 on the week. So it kind of made sense at the time. But no, we're not adverse to doing that. We'll sort of look into sort of weekday courses.
Okay, awesome. Ryan Benfield's asked, what brand of paints do you use? If you use a variety, what is your favourite paint?
Once you've been painting for a long time, and it's something that I say on the course all the time, you end up becoming a paint connoisseur. And I don't mean you go drinking your paint. I mean that you end up with, my favourite reds are these, my favourite golds are these. So for me, I love GW reds. My Blood Angels are painted in old school 2nd edition Blood Angel or blood red, because it's my favourite red. But generally speaking, for brands, I use the holy trinity of Vallejo, Scale 75 and GW. They're the 3 sort of brands that I use. There are some really other sort of great brands that are out there, but I've always found for my personal painting, those 3 for different colours, different manufacturers of different colours, I've always done well, and I've always enjoyed the results I've had from those paints. But they're the 3 that we sort of tend to use as a business and also my personal hobby.
Okay, awesome. Arik Loveguard, why should someone like me who paints to a fair tabletop standard choose your service? I'm not a competition painter, but I recognise the value of a nicely painted army.
Again, goes back to time. Time is it's the most important commodity on earth. And it comes first only to money. Use us because we save you time to sort of be able to do other things. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people will use us we get people who are very good painters who simply do not have the time to paint a full army. They might enjoy painting their character, for example, or they might enjoy doing their tanks, but they don't like doing the slog of the infantry, or they don't like doing tanks, for example. So that's what we're there for, and that's what the service is there for. Is to save you time, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. And then he's decided to have a little dig at me. Normally it descends into bullying towards the end of every show that we do, so we'll ignore that. Stephen Leggett, I only know the GW world. How big, competitive is the modelling and painting world outside of that? So yeah, in your commission side of things, do you get a lot of non-GW stuff?
This is the thing. Like Siege as a business, it's not a bad thing, because obviously GW is such a big, has such a big demographic of players, both on Age of Sigmar and also a lot of 40k, obviously, and all the other game formats that are now sort of being rejuvenated. But we will paint anything. Like one of my artists, Ben, he's a very, 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 very good Napoleonic and old school sort of bolt action. He loves painting those models. But because Siege is kind of, and I say this in a very, not in a happy way, but we are kind of stigmatized as a 40k studio, unfortunately, just because we do pump out so much content on our social media that is 40k. But no, in summary, we will paint anything. Like we will paint busts, we'll paint sort of bolt action, Infinity, any game system. We on our YouTube there are a couple of videos of different games that we've done. Like for example, we've done the Halo Battlefleet set, which has obviously got the Covenant and also the USNC on there as well. But it's just unfortunate that we do get a lot of 40k because it is so popular.
Yeah.
But we love the models are great, so you can't complain when you get that here, to be fair. So
yeah, it's a big one, and it's always going to be up there in terms of the percentage of models that need painting.
Exactly. Yeah.
What else have we got? Some stuff with Adrian again with his client, so I think Phil's going to help him out with that maybe afterwards.
Okay.
What else have we got?
If he wants to drop me an email, that's fine. You can drop me an email, and I'll gladly help him. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
So just drop an email through to siegestudiosuk@gmail.com, and I'll gladly give you some advice if you like.
There you go, Adrian. Crazy Hippo's talking about the price. Oh, Dark Elf Dave wants to know the price for the training weekend. So what is the price for the 2-day courses?
Right, it's £100 for the weekends, and that's 10 till 5:30 on both days. So you're getting 14 hours, actually 13 and a half hours, because obviously there's lunch. You get 13 and a half hours of tuition. The class sizes aren't massive, so we're not talking like 20, 30 people. Normally we cap it in the region of 10 to 15, and if we have 10 to 15, there's always normally between 2 to 3 staff that are working it. So you still get a very much one-on-one sort of tuition. There's plenty of time across the weekend for you to get a significant amount of one-on-one tuition. So 50 quid a day, you can't really go wrong at that, to be perfectly honest, for 13 and a half hours.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I want to look into in the future. I've never been to one, and I think it's something that, especially for the competition level, picking up those techniques that and learning how other people do it as well, that's definitely something I want to look into in the future. So I'm definitely interested in that one as well. What else have we got? Ian Stanford saying, I will email you tomorrow, Siege Studios, about freelance artist job. Okay, that's
okay. Yeah, drop us an email.
Yeah. Somebody else asked previously, I don't know who it was now, but what was the biggest number in terms of an army that you've had to do in the past?
Probably one of my guys, Simon, worked on a massive Tyrannid job. He was seeing High Fleet Leviathan in his sleep. It had, there's a video of it on our YouTube channel, and it's just huge. There were loads of gaunts, loads of big monstrous creatures. Everything you could think of within a Tyrannid force was in it. Check out the YouTube video. When you paint that many gaunts to a high tabletop level, you hats off to him, because he nailed it. But it was a big job. So yeah, so that, probably the Tyrannid army that we done. Yeah.
Okay, Tyrannid. I think one of the Horde armies was definitely going to be it. I was
yeah, it's always going to be, isn't it? Yeah.
That's definitely why I've stayed away from the Tyrannids, because I need my time. Time is that commodity that I need to keep.
Yeah.
James Jones has joined. Sorry I'm late. Don't worry, James. It's not a problem. Dave Dog, would be nice if someone invented a fast app which showed you the model you wanted painted, and you could quickly say, is this how you want it, sir?
If I had that, I'll tell you what, I'm going to steal that idea and get it developed. I'm kidding. No, that'd be brilliant. Yeah, it really would. But the thing is, obviously, with such a bespoke service that we are, we wish we could do that, but it's all down to what the client wants, and we'll execute it as close to physically possible. So that's really it. Take the Bacon Army, for example.
Yep. Ryan Benfield's asked, what's the largest project anyone has commissioned? So is that the Tyrannid Leviathan? Yeah, same one.
Yes, it's the Tyrannid Leviathan army that we've done. Yeah, it was just a monster. Excuse the pun, but it was.
And then what else have we got? Ralph Hummel, Kiblams have both joined. Welcome, both of you. Do you get deals for paints you buy in bigger pots? I imagine you've got so much paint coming off every wall in the studio.
Yeah, the thing is, as I said, like when you paint either for commission or as you progress as a painter, you do become a paint connoisseur. So you'll have boxes of paint everywhere, and it'll be you'd have a box full of your metallics, a box full of your colour. It goes crazy, honestly. So yeah, every single one's a different tool in your arsenal. So yeah, you get as much paint as you do grey plastic in the cupboard. So yeah, it is that way.
Okay, awesome. Kablams, will you ever run the community charity armies like you used to do?
Yeah, so that's part of how I met a lot of people with sort of like within the YouTube community and sort of like within the industries. I was part of a group of YouTubers, because I used to have my own personal sort of like YouTube channel. I used to do my own hobby stuff within, and we done a really big Salamanders army for Help the Heroes, and that was, like I said, it was a great project. It got the whole community together, like loads of really really well known sort of YouTubers all sort of dived in and got it done. And if I had the time, I would love to do another one, and I would love to sort of work with the likes of Idic Beer and Spud and all of those people again, to do another army. It's just at the moment, Siege being what it is, and how busy it's become and how much it's taken over my life, I I barely get time to do projects for clients, let alone sort of other stuff for charities. But yeah, I would love to be part of something like that again. It was a great project.
Awesome. Oric Love God's asking about the class, whether you can take it online. Have you done any online classes?
We thought about it. It is something that we did think about, because we get a lot of people who aren't in the UK who sort of like ask, "Oh, do you do online tutorials? Do you do Skype, things like that?" And I would love to do those, but really, because I'm quite old school in the way that I like to sort of teach, you never get as good a learning perspective as you being there in the flesh. It's all well and good sitting on the end of the computer. I've seen people who have had Skype tutorials, and they're like, "Oh, you can't see if they're mixing the paint right, you can't see if the consistency is right, you can't see if they're getting the desired effect or if it's working." So you really cannot beat a face-to-face physical room environment. As you can try and do it online, but I promise you will never get the same results and the same understanding of techniques unless you're in the room there. We've had people fly over from Sweden, we've had people fly over from Europe, we've had people travel from Scotland all the way down to Essex for the course that we run at Wayland. Genuinely and honestly, the investment of time and money in actually traveling and coming on a course will do you better in the long run. There's no quick fix to painting, and there's no quick journey. Being there face to face will make it 10 times easier for you, and that's just a fact.
He's also followed that up with, "I like to drink when I paint, so online is best for me."
Oh, right, okay. Fair enough. That's fine.
Maybe you could drink a little amount during the day.
A lot of the places we work at, like Wayland, for example, they've got a bar. So, you come to one of the Wayland courses and you can drink all you like. Just don't get out of control.
Because that was the other thing. It's not necessarily located in the same place. It's all over the UK.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, we've got a network of really good independent stockists that we work with. Element Games, Wayland, I Buy Wargames in Woking, which covers sort of Surrey and South London kind of area. We've got Wargames up north, and then we've obviously got Bristol Independent Gaming as well. And like I said, there's a couple of new courses that we're going to be doing. We've actually got a new course in Cardiff at Firestorm Games as well, if you know of that. But this goes out to anyone, obviously. If you know of a local store, if you know of a venue that we could use to run a course, we're not, in any way, shape or form au fait of sort of like coming to that venue, or providing obviously we can get numbers on the course and that there's enough room and space at that venue to run one of our courses, we will travel to that place and set up a course up in that venue. So if any of you know a shop, speak to them, see if they'd entertain it. Drop me an email. It's siegestudiosuk@gmail.com. Send me an email, say I'd love you guys to run a course at this venue. Here's the link to their store, or here's their phone number, or Facebook, or whatever, and I'll do all I can to try and get a course set up in that location. Because at the end of the day, it only increases the network of locations that we have to be able to run the course in the country, and that's really what I want to do.
Okay, awesome. Ralph Hummels asked, has tabletop standard definition been discussed? So you were saying that you only paint above tabletop. So what would you actually class as a tabletop level?
For me, tabletop would be like one colour, highlight, and then not really much effort put on sort of details and things like that. Like a lot of these models, especially as we were saying earlier, a lot of the models now come with so much detail that painting them to a low level doesn't do the model justice. The models don't really sort of pop, and they don't really look realistic because you're just not picking out the details, and the time hasn't been spent, an investment in that model to make it really sort of stand out. So for us, painting to an above tabletop, which means picking out details, making sure things that are on the model that do need the attention given to them are painted, and the investment of time in those aspects is put into the model. It just makes the army look better. It makes every model look better. We're not a studio where you put a squad of 10 Marines together and look at them from 30 centimeters away and they look okay, but when you pull them close, they don't look good. You should be able to pick out every single model and hold it close to your face and look at that model from any angle, and it'd be completely painted to a very good level. And that's what I would class as our tabletop, which generally speaking within the industry is an above tabletop. And that's how I see it.
And checking out the Instagram will definitely show you that, because every model that gets posted on Instagram is at that high quality premium level of painting.
Please go follow us on Instagram. Like I said, we post regularly, and we're not going to pepper you and bombard you with loads of stuff. We post about 5-6 photos a day, spread out through the day. We also do cool things like competitions as well. So we do really cool sort of competitions where we give away Winsor Newton brushes. You can win a Winsor Newton brush, which is a standard brush that we use in the studio. We do models that we do give away. So like I said, we're a very community based and community driven business. You know, even though we are a service to the industry and to the community, you know, we do things for the community as well, like you're saying, charity involvement within charity armies to obviously, you know, money for charity, and also competition. So chuck us a follow on there. You'll see some really cool stuff, and you might even win some stuff as well.
Brilliant. John Snater said, what commission is James most proud of that the studio has produced?
There's been quite a few, but if I'm going to pick one off the top of my head, I would say probably Andy worked on a really cool Grey Knight, Night Titan. It was a really nice project. It's the video of it up on our YouTube. There's been that. There's been quite a few decent armies as well. Like I said, there's some really cool armies. There's a whole host of sort of ultramarine armies that we've had on there. We just finished a big Ravenwing army for Lawrence at Tabletop Tactics. You know, that's lovely force, really nice composition. The colours are really good. Ben done a great job on that. We've done a Harlequin army for the guys over at SM Battle Reports, who we work really closely with. There's a video of that on our channel. So like I said, every project, because it's so different and so varied, you know, we take pride and passion in every single one that we do. And it is hard to pick them, if that makes sense, because everyone is so different. But those three, I would say, have been really good projects that we've worked on. That have come out over this year. So there's loads. Go check out our YouTube channel. Go drop us a subscribe on there, because there's loads of projects. I think there's over 100 obviously project videos on there, so you can go look at some of the stuff that we've done.
Brilliant. We'll stick the links for that in the description afterwards as well, so you can click through straight away. Obviously everyone on the chat can search for it straight after, rather than waiting for this video to process. We're going to do 3 more questions. I've got them already picked here. So we have Stephen Leggett. How far do you reckon a weekend like this can get someone like myself, utterly hopeless with not an artistic bone in my body? Can you teach beyond a basic technical skill?
All of our techniques on the course are designed to upskill you. It is a toolkit that you go away with that you can implement immediately to your hobby. I don't believe that there's anyone that isn't that can't be artistic. Art being art, it's all beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and you know, but generally speaking, with the techniques and principles which we teach on the course, they will make you think in a different way. And when it comes to approaching painting and working with paint, you will be able to execute things to a very good level after doing the course. And like I said, the other thing as well, and one thing I didn't mention about the course as well, is that we have a closed Facebook group. Every member of tuition team, as in the guys that work and obviously run the courses, including myself, and every past student is within that group. Now, you come on the course, obviously you learn the techniques and so on and so forth. After that, you are then put within that closed Facebook group, and what we actually offer on there is continued, you know, aid and help with your hobby. So we do things like, for example, the power sword blending that we teach on the course. Some weeks we'll turn around and say, right guys, if anyone's interested, whoever wants to do it, feel free to take part. It's like our community thing. Let's paint a power sword to the best ability that you can. And the idea is that it incentivizes you to repeat that technique and keep trying to push yourself and make yourself better at doing it. And the idea is that you can rack up those power swords in front of you, and you can see your progression from sword to sword, or from armor panel to armor panel if you're doing the weathering, and get better as a painter. I don't believe that there is anyone on earth that can't become better. You'll hear me say this if you come on a course many times, but repetition really is the mother of success. You will only get better through application and through trying, and that's the reality.
Brilliant stuff. Turrican's put, I wouldn't mind lifting my ability to paint to better than a 6-year-old. So these sort of courses are definitely going to be able to increase your ability regardless of where it's at. You can definitely increase it.
I mean, we just released a testimonial video, and like I said, I can sit here and you know, tell you all the benefits of the course, you know, and you know that I'll tell you black and white how it is. I'm not going to be a salesman and try and force it down your throat. Go onto our YouTube. There's 2 videos that are on there about the EMC, which is our Essentials Masterclass. There's one on there that obviously shows the course format. It's got some written testimonials at the end, but we just put up today one that's got verbal testimonials, recorded video testimonials from people who've actually been on our course. So, you know, take third-party testimonials and go see what other people who have come on the course, and then the aftercare afterwards, and have also progressed. You know, to watch that video. It's literally gone up today. You can take their point of view, and if you want to come on a course, feel free to, and I will gladly sort of help you to become a better painter.
Okay, brilliant stuff. Ryan Benfield, have you ever painted terrain or boards?
No, we haven't. Because the way the business has grown, and because of what what we do. We just haven't got the time. Plus, early on, we worked with a very, very good terrain company. We kind of partnered with them in the sense of that, if anyone asks for terrain, we send them to them. If anyone asks for models, they send them to us, if that makes sense. But if you go on Facebook and check out a company called JMD Scenery, if you search for them, very, very, very good company. They make some brilliant terrain, 40k for fantasy, for Necromunda, for sort of everything from sort of Malifaux. He does everything. So because we've had that relationship with JMD, the necessity for us to do it has never been there, if that makes sense.
Okay, brilliant stuff. And then the last one will be from Turrican, who wants to paint better than a 6-year-old. And his question is, what's the closest painting course to London?
To London, there's two. So there's one at Wargamers, which is in Woking, which is just Surrey, so South London kind of area, or there's the one in Essex, which is at Wayland, just in Hockley. Both of them are very commutable. So the Wayland, you can either go there by train, and it's literally a 2-minute walk from the station. And if you're travelling quite far and you don't want to go back to London, there's quite a few sort of B&Bs and hotels and things that are quite close. The Surrey one at Wargames, again, it's very close to the station, and also it's very easily accessible from the M25. So they're probably your best two courses at the moment. However, we are looking to expand the network of stores and companies that we work with. So again, if you know of a store, I am in conversation with a shop in central London at the moment. So I'm waiting to get clarification on that. I'm not going to say names or anything now because I don't want to sort of shoot myself in the foot. But at the same time, if we do get a London date, a London course, I will obviously put it up on the ticket store. So keep your eyes posted on our social media and also on the ticket store. If that course does go up, then feel free to come on that. But Hockley in Essex at Wayland Games, or Wargames, which is in Woking, Surrey, are probably your best two locations to come on the course.
Okay, brilliant. And he's also put Woking would be easier for me. Nice one, thanks. So potentially going to see Turrican at one of your
come to the course. It'll be good to hang out.
Okay, so that's awesome. It's been a very informative hour. Thank you, absolutely loads for coming on and chatting to us and answering all of our questions. I'm sorry we've bombarded you with a lot.
It's fine, honestly. It's not a problem at all.
No. Thank you to everybody who's joined us on the chat as well, the live chat. Thank you to everybody who's given us the thumbs up and the likes and shared this around as well. And if you're watching this back, give us a thumbs up, share it, and follow the links in the description if you want to go through to more of Siege Studio. Social media, there's going to be everything on there. Instagram, Facebook, their website, and I think we could even put the ticket URL on there as well. So if you're interested in that, all of it will be on one. Adrian's saying, is it Sam Vully time? You've missed it, Adrian, I'm afraid. You had your chance, it's gone. So that's everything. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll see you on the next one. Tomorrow we will have another hobby hangout show. There's going to be myself, Mike, potentially Rachel and Sean from Blue Table Painting. So there's going to be four of us, maybe 5. But we will see you all tomorrow. It'll be 9 o'clock again, start BST. And that's it. And we'll see you later.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye.
Really appreciate it.